Well, hello friends. Welcome back to the program. Today we are going to work on Ladybird, and we're going to take on a website called Desktops, or deskto.ps, which is one of JCS's websites, and it's kind of a community where people post screenshots of their Unix desktops, I guess, or whatever system you're running, and then they annotate the desktops so that you can see which app is which on their screen. And normally these annotations would pop up here, but it doesn't actually work in Ladybird. So that's what made me want to record a video, because I thought, why don't we try to figure out why they don't work, and then we can make them work somehow. So here's how it's supposed to be like. So when I'm hovering this window here, it says Vim, a little annotation there. And here's one with a lot more annotations. So this one has Xedit, Xclipboard, Xload, Xfontcell, and so on. So we got these little hoverable rectangles, I guess. And yeah, Ladybird is just oblivious to this stuff. So now we get to figure out how it's supposed to work and why it doesn't. Also, is that Comic Sans for the window title bar font? My goodness. Anyway, so let's see. Oh, now I entered a separate page where we have only this one screenshot, but maybe that actually works, so we don't have to load the whole page every time we test. Yeah, so let's try that URL. Don't have to put inordinate amount of load on that website, just a little bit. Okay, here we go. So let's figure out how this is supposed to work. So we're just going to use the Firefox DevTools and just mouse around here, and we can immediately see that there are sort of dynamic mutations of the DOM as I hover around. So style attributes updating. So there's going to be a JavaScript snippet somewhere doing that. And when I go outside of the screenshot, then we can see that these things turn gray. So presumably they are now display none. Where do we see that? Oh, they are display none here. Annotations are display none. And then when you hover the screenshots, they become annotation visible, which adds display block. Okay, well, that makes sense. Okay. So the annotations have event handlers. By the way, I love this in the Firefox DevTools, that they show this little event button on DOM elements. So you can easily just open it up and see what event listeners are registered on this element. So we can see here that the screenshot image has an event handler. So maybe that's it. No, just a load event handler. So that will just fire when the image is finished loading. Let's see, the desktop frame. So I guess maybe it's going to be in here then. So the desktop frame is the div containing this, an article. Yeah, so this is the one that has all the mouse event handlers. So I guess this is going to be for entering this thing. That'll be like mouse enter, obviously, or mouse move. Mouse inside is true. Mouse enter, mouse inside is true. Got a little bit of defensive programming going on here. But I think mouse enter is the canonical way of detecting that the cursor is within the bounds of an element. I have not looked at this type of stuff in forever, so we are going to have to figure out how this works, because I'm pretty sure we don't actually implement the mouse enter event. We have it listed as a UI event, but we don't ever fire it. Yeah. So we're going to have to start firing that. Let's see. Where would that go? Mouse enter. I guess it's kind of similar to when you hover over a link and then we have to switch to like the hand cursor and everything. Mouse enter and mouse leave seem conceptually very linked to the hover concept. So we have set hovered node, yeah, in document. So every document has a one hovered node, which is updated when you move the cursor around. So like we check under the cursor, whenever you're moving the cursor, we check like what element is the cursor currently pointing at. And if that changes, we have to sort of update the style because a different hover selector might match and so on. So I feel like intuitively we're going to have to do something here, but let's go and actually look up the spec for mouse enter. And of course, the easiest way to find the random spec is typically to go to MDN and then look for the spec link near the bottom. Here we go. Specification, UI events. All right. So the mouse enter event is a mouse event. It's dispatched synchronously, does not bubble, is not cancelable, not composed. Sure. And then it has all of the state. Okay, so here we go. A user agent, that's us, must dispatch this event when a pointing device is moved onto the boundaries of an element or one of its descendant elements. A user agent, us again, must also dispatch this event when the element or one of its descendants moves to be underneath the primary pointing device. Oh, that's a hassle right there, okay? This event type is similar to mouse over, but differs in that it does not bubble and must not be dispatched when the pointer device moves from an element onto the boundaries of one of its descendant elements. Oh, shoot. Okay. So, oh yeah, and then it says there are similarities between this event type and the CSS hover pseudo class. Sure. See also mouse leave. Right. So it's interesting in that when I move over the screenshot, I'm now sort of within the screenshot element. So there was a div called desktop frame. And as long as I'm inside here, I've entered the desktop frame element, right? So even though I move between these annotations, I'm not leaving the desktop element because those are descendants of the desktop frame div. If I exit the desktop frame div, then I'm leaving it. So it's a little bit tricky. How do we implement that? Let's see. So, and also like the idea that we have to, if elements move around on the page, we have to sort of reevaluate what's under the cursor. I'm thinking, what is the best way to do that? Probably the best way to do that is as a post layout task that we have to do. So after layout finishes, we would just reevaluate what happens to be under the cursor now after we've relayed out the page. But I think we can ignore that particular aspect of this right now and just focus on emitting these events. So we need to produce, they were mouse event, right? That's what I feel like I said they are mouse events. Yes, mouse event, mouse enter. So let's just make a dumb mouse event here for the enter and for the leave also, because they were listening to leave on that page. Pretty sure mouse leave, yeah. And they say mouse inside false. So we probably need to implement leave as well so that the page doesn't get confused. Okay, maybe we do all this after we've invalidated the style so that we're in a clean room here. So this just, now all the hover style has been invalidated as necessary. And now we get to, I guess we first leave the previous element. So let's see, if old hovered node, so we were hovering something previously. So do we need to make a leave event? So we should only leave if the new hovered node is not a descendant of old hovered node. I think that's what they said, right? So if old hovered node and either there's no new hovered node, so m hovered node, either it's null or it's not a descendant of old hovered node. So old m hovered node is not a descendant of old hovered node. Right. So we're moving on to another node that's not a descendant of what we previously hovered. Then it's time to send a mouse leave to old hovered node, I think. Okay, let's try it. Not for old hovered node dispatch event UI events mouse event create What realm should I use? I'm just going to be lazy and use realm paren. I think that's... I'm not sure that's entirely correct in this context, but I'm just going to ignore that at this moment. And Linus can get mad at me. Okay, and then we need to give it the right event name, which I think the actual name for this concept is event type, not event name. So maybe that's something we should rename eventually, but let's not get distracted here. So event names, mouse leave. What more do you want? Oh, you want me to dereference that? Sure. Okay. And then we need to dispatch mouse enter on the newly hovered node, I guess. So if we have a newly hovered node and either there was no previously hovered node or let's see. So I'm moving on to a node, and if I'm staying within the descendants of old hovered node, then I should not dispatch, or no, I should still dispatch on the new hovered node. Let's see. This is this is tickling my brain. So I have a new hovered node. So either I don't have an old hovered node, and if the new hovered node is an ancestor of the old hovered node, then I should not dispatch, right? So the new hovered node must not be an ancestor of old hovered node. I think I might be messing this up, but I feel like that makes sense when I say it out loud. So let's see, UI events, event names, mouse enter. All right, and then maybe we print these out. So dispatch mouse leave on. So old hovered. Okay. And then same thing here, mouse enter. All right, let's see how this works. I entered, I leave. But nothing happens. Okay. Mouse enter on image desktop. But, But that only listens for the load event. So the event handler is on the div desktop frame thing. So I'm never actually dispatching on that. Interesting. And did we say that this event does not bubble? Bubbles? No. So it's not going to bubble up to the parent div. Huh. Wait, so why does that work? What do they say here? Let's see. You must dispatch this event when a pointing device is moved onto the boundaries of an element or one of its descendant elements. Oh, I see. Okay, so the second part is important, right? So if you're moving onto the boundaries of an element or its descendants, so that means that we have to dispatch, I think that means we have to dispatch on the containing element on the div, even though we're moving into the image element that's technically under the mouse, we also need to dispatch on the div because we are moving onto the boundaries of a descendant element. Huh. Okay. So a little... No, I guess that makes sense because you are entering the div. It just happens that the image is directly under the cursor, but you've also entered the div by entering the image if you were not already within the div. So wait, how the heck do we... then we need to... Let's see. It doesn't say anything about order. I'm just thinking like, can we just walk from the image up through the parent chain? What if we just did that? So let's see. If we have like target is old hovered node, and then while target and target, while target is not null, then we will just go to the parent. Can we do that? Perhaps. Okay. Target. Okay, so now we will walk the parent chain. Let's see. Let's see if that actually solves this issue. Although I feel like now we're gonna walk up to the root document node every time, so it's gonna become extremely spammy and confusing. So whatever you do is like you've entered the document, the HTML element, the body, the main. I don't think that's right either. Because if we were already within the div, or we were already, let's see, if we were already within the document, we shouldn't leave the document just because you're moving from one element to another within the document. So we need to stop climbing the parent chain when we reach the common ancestor between the old and new hovered node, which is incidentally exactly what the style invalidation code does. Right, so it locates the common ancestor. So maybe we can just do this actually. So if there is a common ancestor, then style is invalidated at the common ancestor level. If they don't have a common ancestor, it's invalidated at the document level. But this actually seems weird. Like, when would there not be a common ancestor now that I think about it? Because you're always going to have the document as a common ancestor, I guess, unless one of them is null. I guess maybe that's the issue. Anyway, let's see. So we know that they have a common ancestor. So then can we, like, as long as target doesn't reach the common ancestor, let's see. Okay, so now, wait, I've entered the dip desktop frame. I leave it, I enter it. I leave it, I enter it. Let's see. So these patches feel relatively sane, right? Because, like, I am in, where am I here? I'm in some text describer thing, and then I move into the image, and then it dispatches enter on both the image and the desktop frame. Perhaps those should be in reverse order. Like, you first enter the desktop frame and then the image. I'm not sure if that's required. It doesn't mention that this is required, that it has to be in the order. It might be something that is required though, but like, we would have to figure out what other browsers do and just probably have the same order, but I'm just gonna ignore that for now and put a fix me about it. Check if we need to dispatch these reverse order, or wait, maybe the leave ones don't need to be in reverse order. In a specific order. Yeah, let's put that on both. Because I was just thinking maybe the leave events are fine because you leave like the innermost one first, but you enter the outermost one first. I don't know, but let's ignore that. So let's see. So now what are we doing wrong, I wonder? I guess we are firing the event at the desktop frame. So presumably it'll run some code, but evidently not enough for the annotations to show up. So let's see. What does that code actually do? Mouse enter, clickety click. Okay. So prevent default, sure. And then if the target is not this canvas frame, then return, sure. Seems more interesting defensive programming here. I don't do enough actual web development to know what this is guarding against, but it's an interesting check. Okay, and then show annotations. Okay. All right, what do we got here? It's a little bit hard to read because it just trails off. Can you word wrap in this thing? Wrap lines, yes, please. Okay, here we go. So for var x in this annotations, blah, 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 class list add visible. Okay, so I think we have class list and add. Class list. We have class list. Gives you a DOM token list, which has add. pretty sure we exposed that. Yeah, we should support this. So that should work. And it's not throwing an exception or anything. So at least nothing that shows up here as uncaught. Okay, so I think okay, so the easy way to debug this now, I guess, is that I'm going to download the JavaScript from the site. Hopefully, it's just one file. Yes, and we will make a local copy of it, and then we can put a little bit of printf in that local copy. So let's just wget desktops.js, paste. Okay, taking its sweet time there. All right, and then let's prettify it, because why not? And finally, I think we can do something. This is really hackish, but it's a trick I like to employ regularly, which is to just divert loads here in the script element. So we would do something like if source starts with, or actually let's do the URL. If URL starts with URL to string starts with, something like that. Then we are just gonna do this instead. Build desktops.js. All right. And I think now we're redirecting it, so we should be able to print something here like console.log show annotations. And maybe we can even, let's see. I'm just gonna do a classic 1, 2, 3 type thing here. So, okay. Oh, wait, that's the wrong inspector. Show annotations 1, but no 2. Okay, so I guess that means that this dot annotations is empty. This dot annotations, where is that populated? Equals. Okay, so it's an empty object, and then do you push? What do you do with it? Here, okay, let's go. Load annotations. And then this is where we create the annotations, new annotation, blah, blah, blah. And then we add them to the annotations object under an ID. Sure, but it's empty, so we are never calling load annotations. Okay, so if canvas complete, then load annotations. Otherwise, listen for the load event and there add load annotations. Where are we now? Is this like the constructor for desktop image? Okay, so what is canvas? What are they doing with a canvas? Canvas equals canvas. Okay. Desktop image, new desktop image. Wait, what? ID. Annotate image. What is, can I find these somehow? Let's see. What about if we look into the global object? That's a lot of stuff. Sure. But they had some global desktops thing, right? Desktops. Okay, so desktops is a function object. Load annotations. What is it? Show annotations? Desktops.annotations visible by default. So does it have something like desktops images? No. Annotated images? Okay. That's good enough. Desktops.annotated images. Okay. Wow, this is not super legible here in the dark mode. We need to work on the JS console legibility. I'm gonna have to select. Okay, so annotated images is an object that has annotations. Canvas is an image element. Oh, wait, hold on. It's an array. Okay, it's an array and it has one entry. And the entry is this object. And the canvas is an image element, and then the canvas frame is the div. Presumably the div that we had around here, the desktop frame. I bet you that's the canvas frame. Okay. So let's see. So then what does that mean? So we learned that the canvas is an image element. So when we show annotations, load annotations. If this .canvas.complete means, what does image element complete do? Complete. We do not have complete. Okay. Complete is a thing. Okay. A Boolean value which indicates whether or not the image has completely loaded. Okay. So let's see what the spec says exactly about that. The ideal attribute complete must return true if any of the following conditions are true. Okay, so this is just something we need to implement. And let me just make sure I'm writing it correctly in the IDL here. So read-only attribute Boolean. Complete. Okay. And then I guess let's just implement it. So bool complete. And then I'm going to go ahead and be a very, very specky boy here and just annotate what this is. So bool HTML image element complete. Okay, so it's true if any of the following conditions are true. So I guess we'll write them something like this. So if both source attribute and source set attribute are omitted. So if no attribute, attribute names source. So we don't have source and we don't have attribute source set. Then return true. Okay. If source set is omitted and source is the empty string. Fascinating. All right. Source set and attribute source is the empty string. Or I guess we could even say dot is empty. Or no, wait. Let's, has to be the empty string. Don't want to conflate it with omitted. Okay, the image element current requests state is completely available and its pending request is null. Ooh, we do not implement image loading according to the spec just yet. So current request state is not really available to us. So this is going to be a little bit ad hoc. So let's see. So either it's completely available and there's no pending request, or it's a broken load and there's no pending request. Right. So if it's loaded or broken, basically, note fix me. Update this once fix me. This is ad hoc and should be updated once we are loading images via the fetch mechanism. Okay, so we have our image loader, which will tell us has loaded or failed. That's actually perfect for what we're asking. So that's essentially the same as is completely available or broken. So we're going to give the right information. It's just not through the exact same abstraction as the spec uses. So it should be good. Okay, so assuming that we did everything right, I would imagine that this would now succeed if we've loaded the image, and then we will load the annotations. Kind of surprised that I guess we're returning false here, and then I would expect this load event to fire and take care of it. But oh, look, okay, all right, it works, kind of. So the tooltips or whatever, they show up, but the overlay things are a bit glitched out. I guess they are in the wrong place for whatever reason. It's probably some kind of layout issue. And I think I'm just going to ignore that right now. And we are going to turn this into some commits instead. Because at least we figured out why it was not showing up, and the annotations work, but just the overlays are misplaced. But can't do everything perfectly on the first try, and we've already done so much. So let's see. So mouse leave, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we don't need to spam these things anymore. But we should probably leave a spec link here to the enter and leave events. Let's see, so this is the enter event. Also, let's leave a fix me here because we should actually, right now we're not including coordinate information and stuff like that with the event because I don't have any of that right here. Fix me, populate the event with mouse coordinates, etc. Yeah. But I will leave that as an exercise for our future selves. Where is the mouse leave? Right here. Yeah, so let's just make sure that we have that linked as well. Okay. So let's make commits. So the document, just dispatching the mouse enter and mouse leave events. The web, dispatch mouse enter, mouse leave events when required. These are these are this. These events are a little peculiar as they don't bubble, but still reach parent elements since we dispatch them since we dispatch them whenever an element or one of its descendants is left or entered. Although that phrasing is misleading because it makes it sound like we dispatch it on the parent every time you enter one of its children, which we do not. Yeah, I'm just adding confusion by writing that, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, so there I've left a fix me here about populating the events with mouse coordinates, button states, etc. Yeah. We also need to verify that the order, either the dispatch order, either doesn't matter or at least matches other engines. Yeah, okay. And then we had the image element complete thing. So implement HTML image element complete. Yeah, this was fairly straightforward. Although a small part had to be ad hoc since we don't yet load images through fetch. With this, we can now see annotation labels on deskto.ps. Cool. All right. So actually, let's try the main page, because now we only worked on a drill down page where you look at one desktop. Let's see if it works on the main page here. Okay, so that's Vim. ST. Okay, yeah, so it seems to work. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the goofy overlay thing for later, or if somebody else wants to look into it, because I am happy with the progress and I'm a little bit low on time, so it wraps things up decently well. So this is going to be the end of the video. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, for hanging out. I hope that you saw something interesting today, and I'm certainly pleased with the progress. And aren't there supposed to be menus up here, by the way? Yeah, there's a menu here. Its page is so dark in Firefox. What if I set my color scheme to dark? Ooh, look at that. Nice and dark. A weird gap here. Yeah, there are a bunch of issues. Okay, so here is a basically invisible view by OS thing. So let's see. I think, yes, there's a Serenity screenshot from Linus. That's pretty cool. Let's see if we can look at it in Ladybird. Yes, we can. Oh man, these overlays are just all over the place. All overlay the place. Anyway, very cool. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you all next time. Bye.